guys? Welcome to another video. LocsNLoad Firearm Reviews here today. What up, wagunda? How you guys doing? All right, so today's video is on a question I've been asked before, but also something I see a lot happen by civilians when it comes to gun buying, where you guys are just buying guns willy-nilly, but you're not filling the needs of what every civilian needs. And so I'm gonna make this video detailing what I think. Again, this is all my opinion, so don't trip too hard. On what I think every civilian needs based on firearms. So, what is the first firearm that you should buy as a civilian? Like, so that you don't have no guns and you made a decision, I'm going to be part of the 2A community. What is the first gun you should buy? The first gun you should buy should be a pistol. Not any pistol, but preferably either a compact pistol, because one, that compact pistol allows you to do what a full-size pistol can do, and also a subcompact pistol can do. So for reference, Glock 19. Yes, it's loaded because this is my actual home defense gun. This is when I'm home sleeping in my bed, this gun is right next to my head, just like this. All right, but we got little safety Nazis, so we'll go ahead and unload for you guys. All right, so this right here is a Glock 19 and 9mm. Now, this is one of the most common handguns in the world, right? Not just in the US, but in the world. So you purchase something like this, you know that you can find pretty much any Glock, pretty much regardless of the generation, and you will be able to have magazines that will fit this pistol, whether it be a flush 15-round magazine or an extended 33-round magazine. All right, a good honorable mention is something like this, the Glock 45. Now, this has the compact slide, just like the Glock 19. I can literally take the Glock 19 slide off and put it on the 45 and vice versa, and they will work fine. So my slide isn't too long, but it's long enough to give me a decent sight radius and gives me a full grip, right? All my little piggies can get on the grip. So I have pretty much maximum grip ability, if that's a word, right? So it gives you a good grip, a good sight radius. 9mm is a very capable round and allows you to have a lot of capacity. So in this Glock 19 flush magazine, it's 15 rounds plus 116. With this, it's what is it, 17? Yep, 17 round mag plus 18. I also have Glock 19X magazines that hold 19 rounds, so plus 120, right? And so this right here will allow you to, one, wear this gun on a duty holster like a safari land and carry it as a duty pistol. And you can also get, let's say, like a tier 1 concealed holster and be able to conceal carry these pistols. And I say a pistol should be your first purchase because as a civilian, that's probably the gun you're going to be with or use 9 times out of 10 versus any other gun out there. When it comes to concealed carry, you're going to carry a pistol. Nobody, bro, unless you're in a gang violence or you're in a gang, right? All that, you're not walking around with an AR pistol in your pants or a Draco in your pants. The average civilian is not doing that. All right. So you have the pistol. The pistol is in your car. It's in your purse. It's on your person. It's by your bedside. It's in your bathroom, and it's easily accessible. Can be easily carried, more carryable than a rifle. And so it allows you to have that option with you more times than a rifle. And then, like I said, as a civilian, that's what you're going to be using 9 times out of 10. If you're at the gas station, somebody walks up on you with a knife, you're going to be using your pistol, more than likely. Again, someone breaks into your house. A rifle is an option, but 9 times out of 10, people kind of grab the first thing that's right there. And if you have, like me, a gun by your bedside, it's probably going to be that pistol. All right. And so that first purchase should be a pistol in the compact size, meaning 15 rounds or better. All right. You want to have that capacity because, again, you don't know what's going to happen. You might have to fire 1 or 2 rounds. You might have to fire the entire magazine. You don't know. So having as many opportunities to stop the threat is what you want. So a compact pistol to a full size, right? But look more at the compact because not everyone can easily conceal carry a Glock 17, right, or a full-size Beretta M92. But a lot more people can easily conceal carry a Glock 19 versus those other guns, right? So first purchase, compact pistol. All right, so Locs, I'm on my journey. I got my pistol. I got my Safariland holster. I got my Tier 1 concealed in the waistband holster. I have been training on this pistol. I feel proficient, and I feel ready to make the next step. What should I do? All right, so you got your pistol that can cover you for duty and concealed carry, right? Because, again, you want that versatility. The next thing you should buy is a rifle, but not just any rifle, a rifle that will be accurate out to 300 yards or meters, however you want to say, but should be reliable enough to where it will be able to be dropped. It can shoot suppressed. It can lay down a heavy volume of fire. This is your fighting rifle, right? How everyone says, my go-to gun. This is going to be your go-to rifle. This is the rifle that if you had to bug out, this is the rifle that's in your hands. If you had to kick in a door or go make entry into a house because you're looking for supplies, not some high-tech CQB, we're going to eliminate all the targets. No, we're hungry. We're starving. We haven't eaten in 2-3 days. There's a house out there that we think may have supplies, but we're going to go look. And so we're going to make entry into this house. That is the level of CQB most of us is really going to be involved in if shit really hit the fan, right? As far as making entry into a house that's got like 20 bad dudes in there, like that's not going to happen. Like most of us is not trained at that level. Or most of us don't even want to be involved with that shit. I don't want to make entry into a house of 20 people. That's a lot of opportunities to get shot. So again, but if you did have to make entry into a house, it would be based on those circumstances. I'm looking for a shelter. I'm looking for food and water. I'm just looking for a place we can treat our wounded or injured or sick, right? Something like of those lines. So and also, like I said, is going to be something that lays down heavy volume. You have to make contact and break contact. This is the rifle that's going to be laying down fire, moving, get my another cover, laying down fire, changing back, all that, right? So this is going to be that rifle. And so this is mine. Again, you do not have to copy my rifle because, again, my rifle might not suit your needs. This is just kind of a baseline to show you where you should be looking. All right, so this is my baby. All right, it's an 11.5-inch ballistic, Roscoe, my bad. This is a Roscoe barrel. 11.5-inch Roscoe barrel. You see I got it suppressed with a YHM T2 suppressor, Turbo 2. I got the PEC on here. It's on. Don't get too tripped about this. The mount's broken and the battery is dead. It's honestly just here for looks, but it still works. I got a 5X prism and a red dot up top. Right, because again, you want to be able to see things out to distance. You don't have to make a 500-600 yard shot with this 11.5. I've tried to do it. You can do it, but again, the amount of energy that round is giving when it hits is not going to be. It'll probably kill somebody, but again, there's just better options if you're going to shoot 500, 600, 700, 800 yards. But for 0 to 300, oh yeah, this is the bee's knees right here. Right, it's short, compact, but yet still accurate enough to make it out to 300 yards with enough velocity. It's reliable enough to where I've shot. You guys see me shoot this rifle for like years now, whether it was suppressed or unsuppressed. Now I've had like a few hiccups, but nothing that like a quick malfunction clearance drill couldn't solve. And also I forgot to mention a light, because again, this is going to be your go-to rifle, whether it be day or night, because I got the PEC, so it's going to be my day and night gun. All right. And so basically, like I was saying, you want something right around this realm, right? I would say 16 inches to a 10.5. So from 10.5 inch barrel to a 16-inch barrel is where you want to be for your go-to rifle, right? Because again, if you plan on suppressing it, even on a 16, which is what my next gun I'm going to show you, it can still get out there. It's doable, but that's when it starts to get kind of on the schlong side. You know what I mean? But it's definitely doable. But again, for 0 to 300, you don't need a 16-inch barrel. You can go 11.5, 12.5, 13.5. Keep it short, maneuverable, but yet still deadly enough out to that distance. And so this is something you really want to aim for when you're looking at your next firearm purchase, which would be a rifle out to 300 meters. Like I said, this is your go-to, right? Now, again, this gun is going to depend, your go-to gun is going to depend on your environment. Mission, remember, mission dictates gear. My environment, what I do in Florida, the chances of me making 500, 600, 700 yard shots is not that often. Now there are times and places where you might find like a nice opening and you can make that shot, but again, you're probably not going to want to do that. And those opportunities are going to be like few and far between. Most of my environment, I don't know if you guys can see out there, that is my environment. Woods, the swamps. You might have some neighborhoods, but for the most part, it's just like straight woods. And so that's why I went with an 11.5, because in my environment, having a weapon that's going to be easily maneuverable is more advantageous to me versus like somebody in North fucking Dakota and that has like miles of just open yards, right? In that case, a 16-inch gun is probably going to be like your minimum, right? That's going to be like the minimum barrel length you want, because you will be taking shots out to 400, 500, 600 yards a lot more often than somebody living in the state of Florida and the swamps and everything. And also might be different than somebody living in like Minnesota or something, in a highly urban populated areas, like in the city or something. Now, if you're in like Minnesota out in the woods, whatnot, then no, of course, your mission is going to be different than somebody living in the city. If you're in the city, again, something like this may be what you want, because again, you're going to be dealing with more closed-in spaces versus somebody living out in the countryside. So those are things you just got to take in consideration. And so definitely going from like, I guess, tip the butt, picking out what I think is important. Suppressor. The suppressor is important not because it makes things quiet. Granted, it does make things quieter, but a supersonic bullet still is going to make a loud ass crack, right? But what suppressor does give you, which I think is the true benefit of suppressor, two things: flash suppression and noise detection, or location detection, whatever you want to call it. So flash suppression, when you have a suppressor, that muzzle flash is very mitigated or just not at all. Even on 11.5, you get like a little flame that comes out, but that little flame pales in comparison to, like, say, if I did not have it and now there's that big giant fireball with all that unburnt powder giving away my position. And then two, it's easier to spot. You look at a distance, you see a giant fireball coming from the bushes. Well, obviously he's over there. And then the sound detection, or the lack thereof. And that's because, again, when you're shooting this thing, it does make it quieter. So when they hear that crack of the round passing by their head because you missed, it's going to be harder or impossible for them to find the follow-up report. So it's called crack bang. It's a technique that a lot of snipers use in combat. When you hear the crack of the bullet, that's a bullet passing by you. You start counting 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, and if you hear a boom, the report of the gunshot, based on, I think what they were saying, like every second's like 200 to 300 yards. So if it's 2.5 seconds, then you know, okay, he's about 700 yards away, 750, right? You just know he's between 600 and 800 yards. So that gives you some type of range estimation. You don't want that if you're shooting at somebody. You don't want them to know where you are so they can return fire or maneuver on you. And so that is where the added benefit of a suppressor, in my eyes, comes into play. Those two things. It protects your location when you're shooting at someone and also reduces your muzzle flash. All right, here I have a Mod Light PLH. Yeah, I'm reading off. PLH V2. That's about it. I really just bought the light. But it's a good light. Mod Light is a good light, right? I didn't just buy like an old light. But no, I bought a good light. I just didn't remember the name and everything. But a flashlight is extremely important. Like, I don't know how like a level like 1, 2, 3, 4 or whatnot, but in the tier of what belongs on your rifle, especially your go-to rifle, a flashlight is on that list. And that's because, again, things happen at night a lot. Especially, you know, if you're planning on moving through the woods or doing type CQV or doing something where you need to positively identify what's going on. You walk up on somebody, right? Let's say you're just like, you're not bugging out. You're protecting your house, you're doing like patrols of your house. You see someone at night, you can shine them down. Hey, identify yourself, right? So having a flashlight on your gun is extremely beneficial. I say every AR-15 that you are using for a serious application should have some type of white light on there. All right, white light. Well, I want a black light. I know. But yes, some type of white light on there so you can positively ID something in the darkness. Doesn't necessarily have to be at night. Again, it could be broad daylight. But if the house has no power that you're trying to make entry into, it's going to be dark in that house. And so even during broad daylight, you can use that flashlight to shine inside the house and look inside and look for spots that somebody might be hiding in, or look for any type of signs of life, right? So flashlight, highly beneficial. Now, when it comes to rails, quad rails, M-lock, key mod, does it matter? No, not at all. It really doesn't matter. Just get a rail and move on with your life. All right, next one I think is important, the optic. Now, for your go-to rifle, now I can't necessarily tell you what to put on here, but I can make recommendations. And one of those recommendations is to have some type of magnified optic, all right? And so, because again, not everything is going to be within 25, 50 yards. Yes, I know people can make hits out to 300, 400, 500 yards with iron sights and red dots. But the problem is most people are not painted bright white targets that can be seen at distance on a flat range with nicely cut grass, and you can just post it up in the open so you can see. Majority of people, moment that first bullet cracks, people is moving. They're getting low and they're moving. And so trying to see somebody who is wearing camouflage, because we're not going to be wearing bright white clothing, standing out in the open like, hit me. We're not. All right, like I said, that first bullet goes by, people is moving. So now you're trying to find someone at 300, 400, 500 yards wearing camouflage and probably in the prone. Good luck with that. All right, especially if you're out in the woods. Like, good luck with that. So having some type of magnification. This is a 5x prism. So basically, it's like an ACOG, but not an ACOG. So this is what I call the ACOG at home, right? So 5x prism with a hollow sun. I think 509, I believe. I think so. 509T on top for my red dot, and then I can again aim close up, use the red dot, or if you're out, let's say 200, 300 yards, then I will transition to the 5x. And they're close, red dot, 5x, red dot, 5x. And so I like this little combination. Again, you don't have to do it, but I recommend that you have some type of magnified optic on your rifle so that if you do have to make a distance shot, you can make it as accurately as possible. Not only that, it allows you to positively ID something versus I see a guy in the field. Who is that? Is that John? Is that Jimmy? Is that Kyle? Is that Deshante? Right? But if you have like a magnified optic that will allow you to really see, okay, yeah, that's Deontay over there. That is very beneficial, right? So it's not always about making sniper shots. Sometimes it's just I need to see what the hell is going on out there, and that's when this comes into play. And I also recommend if you're going to have a magnified optic on your rifle, have some type of close-in optic as well. So it doesn't have to be this Holosun 509T. It could be something different, right? It just gives you options. So up close, under 150 meters and in, I'm using the red dot. No, 50 meters or further, I'm going to use the 5X. All right, so moving on. Bolt carrier. Make sure you get a good bolt carrier. The cheapest one out there probably isn't what you want, but also the most expensive isn't what you want either. I opt for a nickel boron. This is gold because it was sent to me this way. But if you think I'm gonna buy a gold bolt carrier over a nickel boron, no, I'm gonna go nickel boron every time. This was just sent to the channel for review, so that's why it's in here. But get like a nice nickel boron bolt carrier, whether it be BCM, Toolcraft, any of those like recommended companies, and you'll be good to go. Triggers, That's up to you. Single stage, 2-stage, just get you a good trigger. Even a mil-spec trigger is fine. Right? I know we're spoiled with the Geisleys, but mil-spec triggers is fine. They've killed people for decades. Right? Yeah, the stock, that's up to you. But basically, those things is what you need to focus on when you're coming to your fighting rifle. Stuff on here that helps you fight. Right? That's why I don't have like an LPVO. I don't want to have to sit here and mess with dials and everything. I just want my 5X to be my 5X, my red dot to be my red dot. So when I see a target, I put the chevron on them and I bust. All right. All right. So that is number 2 on the list. All right. So you've made those purchases. You got yourself a pistol that you can use, and whether it be for concealed carry or duty use. And now you have that rifle that gets you out to 300 meters. Now, Locs, what is the third rifle you should have? Because I got my gun for, you know, my pistol for personal protection. I got my 300-meter gun, and now you need something that can get you out to 600 meters at least. So, right? So now you got yourself, you know, that pistol that's say 25 and in, right? It's just a secondary rifle. I'm a pistol, my bad. Secondary option. That rifle, the 0 to 300. Now, this is something that's going to get you from 0 to 6. All right. So having some type of long range firearm that can, again, help you hit targets out the distance is what that third purchase is what you want to be. All right. So the question I get asked, what caliber? Now, does it have to be 5.56 like this? No, it does not. Let me. Whoops. All right, so it doesn't have to be 5.56 like this. But remember, if you're setting your stuff up for that shit hit the fan, without rule of law, civil war, or whatever type of bullshit, where it just all things are just gone to shit, then you're gonna want to set up your weapons to where, if you ran out of 5.56 ammo, how are you going to replenish it? Right? You're probably gonna have to go into somebody's house. You're probably gonna have to go into a store. You're gonna have to somehow find and procure these calibers. So having some super niche caliber like 8.6 or 6.5 Creedmoor is kind of starting to get stock, but still not as available as 308. Right? So just to make it simple for you guys, America's calibers is 9mm, 45 ACP, 5.56, 308. Right? You can make the case that it's 9mm, 5.56, and 308. So when you're looking for guns to buy, especially to fill these roles, it needs to be a 9mm, 5.56 or 223, or 308 7.62 by 51. Right? Those calibers are America's calibers. You will be able to find those more often than any real other caliber in quantity. So, all right, back to the rifle. So again, something that gets you out to 600 yards at least, right? So again, when it comes to this, 5.56 in my eyes is the absolute minimum you want to go for some type of long range application. What I prefer, again, my recommendation is an AR-10. Which is what I'm going to start building here shortly, is an AR-10 that's going to replace this here DMR. All right, because again, 5.56 is great, you know, especially, you know, at a 16-inch barrel, which is what this is, 16-inch ballistic advantage barrel. It can get out there. It can hit the target. It's just 5.56, even with 77s, does get affected by wind a lot more than the 308 will. It's just how it is. Right, you got a smaller bullet. It's going to be more affected by the atmospheric variables more so than a bigger bullet. Not saying that the 308 doesn't get blown around, but versus a 5.56, it's going to be able to fight that wind and whatever else is going on a lot better. And then once it hits the target, it's really hitting the target. Right? If you shot steel with a 5.56 and shot one with a 308, there is a difference. Right? There is a massive difference. But again, 5.56 is as minimum as you want to go for that 0 to 600 yard gun. My recommendation is a 308 because it's a step up. but yet you can still find that ammunition readily available, whether it be on the shelves or in people's houses. Right. So when it comes to, again, the DMR rifle, almost like the 300-yard gun, a lot of the same aspects you're going to want to pretty much do for this gun, just minus, like, plus or minus a few things. All right. So first, you want to be suppressed. That, again, like I said, reduces your muzzle flash and also protects your position of where you're shooting from a lot better than not having one. All right. The barrel. When it comes to an SPR, the barrel is one of the most important things on that rifle. Like top 3, easy. Now, I would almost damn near say number 1, because it doesn't matter, like, if the optic is so great, like if you see it but you can't hit it, it doesn't do you no good, right? If you have the greatest trigger press in the world and the greatest optic in the world, but your barrel sucks, you're gonna miss, right? So I think the barrel is honestly the most important thing on a long-range gun. So, like I said, this is a ballistic advantage stainless steel Hansen 223 Wild barrel. So 223 Wild means I can shoot 5.56 and 223 through this barrel accurately, and it'll be able to handle pressures of both. Right? I have a video on the difference between 223 and 5.56, so check it out if you want to know the difference between the two. But definitely invest in a good barrel. Ballistic Advantage or Roscoe, if you're shooting an AR-15 or an AR-10, those are the 2 barrel manufacturers that you just don't need to really go above, right? So Ballistic Advantage, Roscoe Manufacturing. All right, again, the rails don't matter, but you do want to have some type of way to support this rifle when you're shooting from the prone or off a barrier. So again, like this, if I'm shooting like this, I can mount it up, get behind my optic, and then lay down fire if I need to. So a bipod is definitely something you want to have. Harris bipods are good. This is a UTG. It does the job fine, but I'm going to replace it because it's not perfect. There's things about it I want to fix or wish it had, and it is a little flimsy, but like I said, it does get the job done. But you do want to invest in a good bipod. Optic. Now, the optic on this gun is going to be more important than optic on your fighting rifle, because now this optic has to do a lot more than what that prism does. The prism is just, you get a 5x and the chef and then this reticle, and that's it. We can also illuminate it, but that's it. When it comes to your SPR, DMR, sniper scope, it's going to have to do a lot more. It's going to have to be able to change magnification. So that means, like on this 4-16, this is a primary arms GLX 4-16. So I can go all the way down to 4, or I go all the way up to 16 power, or anything in between. My dials. Sometimes I might have to hold. Sometimes I might have to dial, make sure I get as precise of a hit as possible. So that means my turrets are going to have to be on point, and when I actually dial in 0.2, it has to actually move it 0.2, not 0.25, not 3.7, not 1.2, right? It has to actually move accurately. 0 to turrets, like people say. Also, illumination, parallax adjustment. What does that mean? The problem with LPVOs is that they have no parallax adjustment. Meaning, if I'm looking at a target at 500 yards and it's blurry, that's as best as it's going to get, right? But with an actual high power magnification scope, not a low power variable optic, so LPVO, low power variable optic, when you have a high power optic, they come with parallax adjustments, or medium power optic. They come with parallax adjustments. So that target out to 500 yards that looks blurry, you dial your parallax at 500 yards, and now that blurry target becomes crisper. Now you can read the lettering on his shirt. You can see his facial expressions. You can see if he's got a beard. You can see if he's looking around being suspicious, right? You can see a lot more detail of the picture versus LPVO. All right, like us at Short Bus, we have done the test where we're taking targets out to 500 yards and whatnot, put them out there camouflaged as how they're going to be. And then you honestly cannot see that target at all. Somebody has to guide you through the target, and then maybe you might see it. You might see an outline, or might not see it at all. So that's where LPVOs come into their cons. You know, everyone hopped on the train, oh, magnification, but I would either just rather have a gun with a red dot or just have like this, a 4-16, and then I can mount a red dot on top. And so now I have an optic, I can see out the distance, positively ID stuff, and still use it for close in shooting. Trigger. The trigger on your long range gun is important because you want to as crisp of a trigger break as possible. That's not going to cause any additional vibrations. It's not going to cause any missed shots, malfunctions, or anything like that. So again, you're going to want a nice 2-stage trigger because a 2-stage trigger, unlike a single stage, it would just go. There we go. All right, so a single stage trigger will just break, but if you have a 2-stage, you can take up some of the slack. So if it's a 3-pound trigger, now it's like a 2-pound trigger. I took up a pound, now it's a 2-pound trigger, and it's a crisper break. And then it kind of helps you with your accuracy because I forgot the word I'm looking for, but it just takes a little bit more slop out of the trigger, so it's less movement when you actually go to break the trigger. Instead of like pulling the trigger all the way back, you just like, that's it. So a good trigger goes a long way. So, all right, guys, that's my recommendations for your first 3 guns that you should buy as a civilian. Pistol, that's in the compact to full size, that can hold 15 rounds or more, that can be used in a duty holster and concealed carry. All right. Next, you're going to want some type of close-in fighting rifle. So either a 10.5 to a 16-inch barrel. And that's going to be your fighting rifle. Now, if you're going to do CQB, that's that. If you're going to make bounding movements, that gun. If you're going to ambush, that gun. All right. If you're going to do recon, probably going to be that gun. That type of stuff. Next, once you got those 2 guns, you're going to want something that's going to help you reach out and touch somebody. So that should be, again, AR-15 or AR-10, preferably. Bolt guns, you can use bolt guns. So don't get me wrong. If you got a nice little bolt gun, like Eric's got his Bagara. No, if you got your Remington 700 and 308, that's fine. Just make sure, one, you're proficient with it. You understand how the bullet flies. You have data on it. You got your dope card. So, if you're using this round, this is my hole is at 200, 300, 400, 500. All that good jazz, a good optic, a good barrel, a good trigger, and other accoutrements like the bipod and stuff. All right, so those are where you want to be because, again, what civilians have to understand is that the Second Amendment was not written so you can go to the gun range and show off to all your buddies what you got. The Second Amendment was written because of a tyrannical government, whether it be foreign or domestic, and to give the American people a defense against that. So your guns are going to have to be able to defend against tyranny. And if tyranny has AR-15s, Glock 17s, Glock 19s, and they got AR-10s, then guess what? So do you. All right, so you get those 3 guns, and then I don't say like you're just good, but you're on the right path. You got the 3 guns that will help you, and if shit hit the fan, you can run out with these 3 guns. You can put this pistol in your waistband holster or in your Safariland holster. You can have your 11.5, 10.5, 13.7, 16 in your hands, and you can take this gun and put it in the backpack, or take the upper and put it in the backpack. And then that way, now you have 3 platforms. All right, so that's what I recommend. Now, honorable mentions. So let's say you got these 3 guns. Locs, what are some other guns I can delve into that would help me out, the average American citizen? So I would say honorable mentions. I'm going to go, I should say, the order of what I would go. I would go PDW, PCC, and then a shotgun. Right? So PDW, personal defense weapon. For visualization, a 300 blackout, right? So think of a 300 blackout with like an 8-inch barrel, 6 to 8 inch barrel, right? That's something that can serve your purpose because again, now you can add that to your concealed carry realm. So now you can have your Glock in your pants, and now if you need to step up the firepower, you can have that 300 blackout. But you need to understand that these honorable mention guns, if shit hit the fan, these honorable mention guns are probably going to be left behind because again, you can only carry so many guns. You already got 3 on you: your pistol, your 0 to 300 gun, and your 0 to 600 yard gun. So now trying to carry a 300 blackout and that ammo, now it's going to start to kind of get like heavy. Now you're carrying a lot of shit that you probably don't need. But until that time happens, a 300 blackout, whether it be for vehicle or home defense, is a very good weapon to have. I'm looking at building a 300 blackout so I can add that to my home defense guns or my home defense collection system, whatever the fuck, right? They always got these fancy words I don't know. Right? But you can do that. Now, a PCC, pistol caliber carbine. So think of like a CZ Scorpion or the AKV. Right, those 9mm, 45 caliber little platforms and like the little short, two-handed package. Those are also decent because you can use that again for home defense and your EDC loadout. I put that second behind the PDW because I'd rather have a 300 blackout versus a 9mm. But it does make sense because if you are carrying, let's say, you are carrying a Glock 19 as your concealed carry gun, it does make sense to carry a PCC that takes Glock mags, right? So let's say you got your Glock with this mag in there, and you got your pistol caliber carbine, the Glock mag in it, and so let's say the pistol caliber carbine goes down. Well, take out that mag, now you're back in the fight, right? So that's also a good option. Having a PCC that takes the same magazines as your concealed carry gun. Now, thirdly on the list, shotguns. Now, I'm not a big shotgun fan. I think shotguns have a lot of limitations, but people are kind of enthused by the theatrics of a shotgun. Oh, I can shoot somebody one time, make this big ass hole, or I can just point down the hallway and I don't have to aim. A lot of misconceptions about shotguns. Yes, you still have to aim. Now, I don't care if you're using slugs or buckshot, birdshot, you still have to aim. It doesn't. Yes, it causes a spread in bird and buckshot, but the spread is not like the movies where it's just like the entire hallway is just filled. Like, no, you can still miss in a hallway shooting a shotgun if you don't aim properly. Yes, there is a little bit more forgiveness in your having a lack of aim, but when you're shooting, like, you don't want to just be willy-nilly just slinging shots down range. Even a shotgun, you can go through walls or windows and still hit somebody innocent. Shotguns also have a limited capacity. 5 to 8 rounds is typical. You see these ones, the magazine-fed ones, they have so much issues in feeding that it's not, to me, it's not a reliable option. And then 2, it's inadequate for the job. Having a 19-round mag that just sticks out all along like that, no, that's not very practical, right? So shotguns are an honorable mention because they do serve a purpose, but that is a very limited purpose. I don't see anything that my 11.5 can do. A shotgun can do that my 11.5 can't do, right? The only thing is, like, maybe if I was trying to breach a door, I can shoot out of the lock with 11.5. It might take a few more rounds, but how often am I going around blowing doors off the hinges? Never. I've never had to do that. But if you want to have a shotgun and add it to like your little kit, like a little shockwave, you can. It's just shotguns have a limited role and capacity, and I just don't feel like adding it to my list of what every civilian needs. It's just, that's just me though. Like I said, it's an opinion. You don't have to take it if you don't want to. But what I would like to do is see from you guys, do you guys agree with the list? Or if you don't agree, what should be the first 3 guns you think every civilian needs? And remember, these 3 guns are there not only for the home protection and dealing with now when things are, I guess, at peace, but when things are not at peace, right? So remember, a tyrannical government, whether it be foreign or domestic, that's what the guns have to protect against. All right. So I want to see your list, list for 3 guns that you would have to protect yourself from a tyrannical government, whether it be foreign or domestic. All right. So get down in the comment section and let me know. On top of that, I want to thank you guys for watching the video. I want you to like, comment, subscribe, join Patreon, donate to the channel. It helps us with continuing to put out videos and upgrading our equipment so we get newer cameras, better lighting, etc., etc. So on top of that, guys, thank you for watching. Stay educated, stay dangerous. LocsNLoad out.